Mark Penn, Chief Insights Officer of Microsoft, and also behind a study on the American Dream, joining me from the Aspen Ideas Festival. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
So you are part of a group that released a survey on the American Dream. You have looked at countless surveys over your years. What struck you most about the results of this survey?
Well, what struck me was the big disconnect between the way people view their politics and the country. They say, wow, the country's in the wrong direction, my politics are all confused, they're quite negative on that. And yet, when we asked them about their own lives, 72% said they're either living the American dream or they thought they could achieve it. We saw enormous personal optimism.
So why the disparity then, do you think?
I think that I've seen this before. I saw this actually in 1995, 1996. There have been steadily improving conditions since the financial crisis. At the same time, the political environment's been in gridlock. In fact, even in this poll, people couldn't decide between smaller government and more government. Democrats wanted more services and free college, and Republicans wanted smaller government and lower taxes. So we've reached real division in government. But people are moving ahead in their personal lives. They're getting jobs again. You see the job numbers. They're beginning to go out and spend. And I think you see that optimism and comfort beginning to reflect itself in the survey.
How did it divide by age and also race?
Well, I think there were a couple of important findings in the survey by age. The millennials were the most optimistic. Even though fewer of them had achieved the American dream, overall, a larger percentage thought they were going to achieve it. There was a blip, however, in the baby boomers. They were a little insecure. The financial crisis really hit them tough. And I think particularly a lot of them just as they were coming to their peak earning years. By race, a couple of big surprises. African-Americans, Latinos, enormous optimism among them too. Something we haven't seen in the polls really in many, many years.
And very surprising given the headlines we've seen over the last 6 months to a year.
I think that you really have to step back and look at the bigger picture. I think they see President Obama implementing policies and they see a nation taking note of incidents that happen, and I think they really see, a newfound optimism that they can achieve success in this country. And so I was surprised by the finding. I expected to see a lot more pessimism. If you go back into earlier polling, African Americans usually were 20 points more pessimistic than white voters. That's not what we're seeing today.
So as somebody who's been around politics for much of your career, what would you advise the presidential candidates on this dialogue about the American dream?
Well, I'd say don't forget that the American dream, underneath all the political disagreements, is still there. People still believe that if you work hard, get a good education, that you can and should be a success in this society. And the American dream and being part of the middle class is still the bedrock of politics in America.
On another topic, you are soon leaving Microsoft. Tell us a little bit about your new venture.
Well, I formed the Stagwell Group, which is going to be a private equity fund specializing in marketing services. And so I'm looking for companies that really are creative, that are digital first, and that are data oriented. And I'm going to put together a group of companies I think that can be second to none in terms of the kind of marketing service products they can put out.
Is digital really the only way of the future in terms of marketing?
Well, television remains important, but let's face it, there's a huge transition to digital now, and increasingly, whether or not you technically view a television set or not, the way that entertainment and information is being delivered is digital.
But isn't it also tougher in terms of reaching a marketplace that seems to get further and further divided, and the Twitter-like attention spans of 140 characters? Also, how do you get the message out?
Well, actually, if you look at it, the best-selling books and movies are longer. There's a group out there I've identified, long attention spanners, that are really great ones to market to. They are the ones that really are the people on the internet who are the best customers for any product. I think people have an enormous attention span that can be tapped into through advertising methods that we've yet to discover. Television advertising was made for television. We haven't really figured out the best forms of digital advertising to engage people.
Mark Penn, we look forward to following what's next for you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.